Hello everyone and welcome to the Smashi Business Show. Today is Thursday, April 23, 2026 and I'm Abdul Majid Awan.
And I'm Ward Ahmed, and for today's headlines, the UAE president and Musk have jumped on a phone call, and Ronaldo, the Brazilian legend, has collaborated with Aldar. And finally, we're going to discuss how Saudi is really investing in ETFs. I think that it is a really busy time. We're getting this new gold metro line.
Yes.
It's like hyper crazy utopian. It's exciting, the fact that they're announcing this right now, and from the very His Highness Sheikh Mohammed on X. And the fact that everybody keeps up with that.
Yeah, the funny thing is that a day ago, I think Mead did a story about one express metro line which will be built from the original Dubai International Airport, DAXB, to the new one in Jabal Ali. So it was supposed to be a 55-kilometer line. They've put out contracts so people can start bidding for it. But I was talking to Casey and we were discussing which things it will go through, and they said it will go through 5 stations, and then the next day we see Golden Line, and I was like, okay, this is crazy, like how they're trying to convert the city into, like they're connecting the city into what we've always heard about, that they want to turn it into a 20-minute city. Wherever you are in the city, and if you want to go to the other corner, it will take you 20 minutes. And think metros are the best ways to do it. And already on the red line and the green line that we have, the orange, the blue line is in the making. It will be completed by 2028. Golden line will be finished by 2032. So the urban master plan 2040, we are seeing it take shape as we live and breathe. So it's going to be crazy what Dubai will look like by 2040, because we have green spaces, walkable areas, 15, 20-kilometer stretches, work from parks. There's so many ideas that Dubai is implementing.
But honestly, Majid, like we saw with the robo taxis, with that specifically, we know that the 2 companies that are mainly involved are Joby Aviation. It's this California-based company, and then you have the RTA. And I think for this new project, this new golden line, you mentioned, bidding processes. It really made me, think about the bidding and how that will possibly go. I think that, with the UAE, with the Gulf, with the Middle East in general, to be honest with you, we don't usually get much information on how their appraisals usually go or how they choose who the best bidder is. And it's interesting because it's like, do you go for the most cost-effective one? But then, even cost-effective, that is such a broad statement. What is best value for money for them? Is it going for the cheapest? Is it going for the cheapest bidder and getting them to build a project? And I don't believe they do that. Because if you go for the cheapest bidder, you're going to have unqualified contractors building your projects. And from what we've seen in the UAE, infrastructure here is like crazy. Azizi, Benghati, A'mar. I mean, A'mar is like a big carrier of the UAE's economy, the Dubai government. But my point is here is that I would kill to know. I would kill to get into that room and know how are they choosing people, because you don't want it to be expensive, but you don't want it to be too cheap either. You're just gonna have unqualified people in play.
I saw some part of this process when I was working at an events management company, and we had this event called Project Management Forum. There's a global body which is project management something, and they do an event in the Middle East. So 1 year it's in Dubai, 1 year it's in Saudi, so they keep alternating. And I was at one of those events and I heard people, it's basically project management, it's any kind of project. They tell you the best ways to do stuff. So I realized there were a few panel sessions which were insightful, and when you said this, it reminds me, the process of bidding is always who has the cheapest bid. But there is an audit before the bidding process in some high-level projects, the Giga projects, the Neon projects, the high-level projects, this RTA or this whole metro project. So not everyone can come in and bid for the process. There's an auditing process. You send your portfolio plus your bid. So they obviously take the cheapest one. That is the main
but that's
purpose
what I'm
of bidding.
saying. What if they shouldn't take the cheapest
No,
one?
the thing is, they take the cheapest one. So it's like if you have 100 companies who can do the project, so 100 companies will send in their portfolios and they'll be audited on the work that they've already done. So if you find a chink in their armor that they did a project which was not good in quality or some complaints, so there is a whole audit process for all those companies. Once those companies are audited and they're shortlisted, oh, these are the 50 companies we choose from 100, then you see the bids. And then you see, oh, these companies, 50 companies, perfect to make it. This bid is the cheapest, we'll take this one.
No, I get
so
you,
it
Majid.
goes through that process.
But I'm saying with the cost overruns, with the budget overruns that we've seen, what if they stop choosing the cheapest bid? Like, is that always? I think this is an important.
It has to be always
no,
the
but
cheapest.
honestly, no, but honestly though, that is an
to be
important
honest,
question to ask. Should we always choose the cheapest option? I'm not saying go for the most expensive, but you know,
it's a
what if
process.
there's like a middle ground going on there?
So, for example, if someone bids, like we'll build, it's a $32 billion project. We know that, the Golden Metro Line. If someone says that we can do it in 30 billion, and the government sees it and like, okay, 30 billion is a good bid to build the whole thing, we'll save $2 billion on it, right? 2 billion dirhams, billion, it was dollars, right? $32 billion?
I believe so.
Yeah, dollars. So they save $2 billion, good for economy, good for the metro project. They can use that 2 billion to add something else into that metro project. The thing is, they have to choose the cheapest, because if they don't, the problem will be that there is antitrust laws. Like, why wouldn't you choose a $30 billion company, and why would you go for a $35 billion company who says they? So it shows like maybe there was favors, maybe.
No,
so
but,
it can be that.
But you know,
so
Majid, it's
bidding wise, it will be the cheapest. But yeah, quality wise, they'll audit it.
I'll tell you why I'm saying this, because in different countries, it actually works in a different way.
Okay.
Obviously, because the Gulf, you have all of these monarchs. We're not really going to get that open data for budgeting and how their appraisal systems go. But if you actually go and look at the IMF, their financing, go and look at the World Bank, their appraisals for their donor projects and what they're doing, and specifically in the UK, I actually discovered that they have something called the Green Book. And this Green Book, it's basically, Majid, it's basically this like this system, this appraisal system, and it comes up with this standardized design for how different cities in England can basically get approval for their projects. And the way that it works is that they kind of measure it against this value for money metric, but their value for money metric means something different than what it means here. For them, it's almost like, is this going to have economic value, but also is it going to have societal value? How is it going to impact? But then, like, these systems, I'll tell you why they're so limited. They have so many. They're subject to so much critique because of the fact that, okay, look at it like this: a place like London is going to get its projects approved much quicker and get all the bids that it needs much quicker than a town that does not make that much money. Why? Because a place like London, obviously, because it has more working people, their economy is more productive, it is easier for them to go through the system because why? They understand the designs in place, they understand the success criteria that they have to pass. So what I'm honestly really saying is, do you think that maybe, like how they've put together that appraisal system, everybody, through every single city has to apply through it, they have to go through this entire process. It's not really much of bidding going on there. What if we had that kind of system applied here? Would we maybe see less cost overruns? Would we maybe see less delayed projects? But then in general, all of these projects, they get delayed and they end up being built.
No, but thankfully in the UAE, government-backed projects, they never get delayed because there's penalties associated with them. So if I bid 30 billion, again, going back to company A, I bid 30 billion and I say I'll finish it. So government has given the date of 2032, let's say March. If I go over each month or each year or whatever, a quarter, I will be fine because I had to deliver on time. And UAE, thankfully, our metros last year, I think we completed 10, 15 years of the metro. His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid, the Dubai ruler, the Prime Minister of UAE, he was there. And funnily, it was 99.2% efficiency, on-time arrivals of the metros. And he was like, I want it at 100%. So we know the leadership here and the government agencies, they don't like laziness. They don't like overrunning the time of the projects. So 100% it will be a great project. It will be built by 2030 to 100%. Thankfully, we live in a country which has these guardrails where you can't just run away with like
That's true.
overruns.
You know what I really liked, Majid? The way that they're like they're banning basically employees in banks from chatting with customers on WhatsApp. And it's crazy the fact that they've released this right now, because the last time I was at the bank, I did everything through WhatsApp. And I was honestly really happy. I was like, oh, this is great. Like this person is on standby, you know? But now that I think about it, what do you think is the reason for this? Because I do know that, correct me if I'm wrong, WhatsApp messages can be used in court cases. I do believe that is the case.
Yeah, it depends. If you're part of a group and you say something about anyone and one of the people from the group, you can't, no one can come to your phone and invade your privacy and take those messages. But if someone from the group complains about you and shows a message, he was part of the group, he was privy to the conversation, so he had the right to report it. That is what basic law is. What I think the banks are doing, because we have seen there's a lot of news that came out. We covered one or two of them. The Israeli spyware, remember that Meta won the case against?
Oh yeah.
I think it was 22 or 30 million dollars. The case was that that company, Israeli company, founded, backed, still working from Israel, had found a loophole in the WhatsApp system where they could get data from it, and it was a zero code and zero human interference one. So no one had to message you and send you a link and you had to click. It's called a no-click loophole. So they could just simply take your data from WhatsApp. So I think government is very proactive here.
Yo,
the
stay
cybersecurity
safe.
guys,
You need
they're
to stay
perfect.
safe.
They're like, we will not allow WhatsApp financial services being offered on WhatsApp, because there is maybe a rare chance where someone's information, banking information, if shared through WhatsApp, can be taken and used for, obviously, stealing money. There's no, I can't even say bad purposes, it's basically stealing money. So I think it's kind of a very good move to not move there. Banking apps, we have a banking app for every bank. So use those banking apps. And to be honest, I would also want to see, we've started receiving OTPs on our apps. We used to receive them on messages, now we receive them on app. I saw this one problem with it, where once I didn't have internet access, it's not that I didn't have data, I was in a place where the internet, the signals were low. So I couldn't get the OTP. And I was like, what if I'm at such a place where I have to make a transaction and even the data is not working? What then? I can't get an OTP, I can't do a transaction. So they need to come up with a system, the banking apps, where you have a list of like 10 OTPs which you can write down, keep safe. It's an idea from crypto wallets. So crypto wallets give you 10 codes which are like completely usable without internet. So I think those banking apps need to update to that system. They give you 10 codes where no internet service is there, and then even then you can make a transaction.
But I think in general, Majid, this conversation about our data, it's so important, because it's like you see so many people doing things on social media that are actually dangerous for you. Like posting images where people can tell where your home is.
Did you see the Al Jazeera report? We did that.
Yes, was it the university students? But
12
also,
universities spying on students and teachers to see if they're pro-Palestinian activists.
But this is true though, and Majid, like, you know, this is just me casually scrolling through TikTok. I see so many Dubai influencers. I mentioned Dubai because, you know, we live here and I know the area. I could not tell you how many people's videos, and they're famous influencers. I watch the video, I can tell exactly where they live. Exact house, I can tell. I really can tell. And I'm like, y'all don't fear for your safety? Like, okay, I know we're in Dubai, but like when you go into that stardom, like, come on, like, you never know if they're stalkers or like people who put their full name online. Like, honestly, I really think LinkedIn, like, I love LinkedIn. I think it's great for publicity, for marketing, but you need to be careful, because, and you know, it's interesting because it's like European countries, Western countries in general, they'll tell you of, oh, you know, like, data is so restricted in the Gulf, like, you can't talk about this or that. But then you're hearing that these university students, the Al Jazeera story that we did, they're spying on students, on teachers over pro-Palestinian speech, but not just that. You're hearing about people actually getting arrested. Like, times are changing in the sense of, you know, I was watching Diary of a CEO. I know he's really controversial right now. I agree with you guys, but he did this episode. Majid, with this guy, I think his name is John Kuroki, and he's basically this like ex-CIA agent. He's a journalist, and he was like, if they want to arrest you now, they don't need an arrest warrant anymore, and they can literally just go buy your data and you'll be arrested. And you hear about that. Thousands of people arrested in America. Thousands of, like, they're cracking down on this. And it's so dangerous. Like, stay safe. You know, to the people who are smart enough, I think, like Nara Smith. Do you know Nara Smith on TikTok?
I've heard her name, yeah.
Basically, she's married to this model, Lucky Smith, and it's like, you know, people keep saying, like, man, what are these funny names that you're naming your children and it's just, they have a really whimsical vibe going on. And someone basically said this theory of, what if she's changing her children's names, changing her name so she can never be found on system? Imagine, I hear crazy stories of people basically taking somebody's name and like taking credit out, taking money out. Like y'all need to stay safe.
Social security information theft.
Like, imagine, you know what emails I've been getting lately on my messages? These like different Hotmail, Gmail emails have been reaching out to me, like Lisi and Lucian, where like, you have a parking fee that you need to pay. And I'm like, I don't even drive. Like, what? Who is this? So y'all stay safe.
They're buying the wrong data.
Honestly, you guys stay safe. But there's
coming back to Abu Dhabi, right?
Yes.
In Abu Dhabi, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, the president of the UAE, met Larry Fink, chairman and CEO of BlackRock, to discuss global market trends and opportunities in AI and advanced technologies.
Hours later, Wham reported that His Highness received a call from Elon Musk, the world's richest man and founder of SpaceX and Tesla, who just so happens to be raising money for an IPO, about like $70 billion. So it all makes sense.
Yeah, and the engagements came as the UAE continues to position itself at the center of global innovation, with leadership strengthening ties across finance and technology to accelerate development in high growth sectors.
Now, days earlier, Elon Musk had met the UAE Minister of State for Digital Economy and AI, Umar Sultan Al Ulama, as conversations around AI and future industries deepen across both government and private sectors.
And Larry Fink was also seen meeting ADNOC Group CEO Dr. Sultan Ahmed Al Jaber, underscoring broad alignment between global capital and regional leadership as the UAE signals ambition to shape the next phase of the global economy.
This is exciting, but I think it's mostly exciting for them because, you know, they're trying to raise that bank, and that is exactly what this is. And I think I also saw it. I think it was the Meta president, the Egyptian-born one, and she was basically
Anna McCormick.
Yes, and she was basically saying this at the World Economy Semaphore Summit.
Semaphore World Economy Summit.
Yes,
That's a very long
and
name.
she was basically talking, and she was like, you know, Gulf is great. They have like $2 trillion in sovereign wealth funds. Like, these people know, and you got to give it to them. They know. It's like, you know, you stand with your network during their difficult times, and you will definitely reap a lot of returns. And I think this was really important for Musk, though, because that IPO, because it needs to be big. He cannot afford for this to be a loss. Majid was telling me about this video he was watching this morning.
Which video? No, it was in the morning. It was in the night, 1:30 a.m. Elon Musk came online. Tesla reportings were announced, Q1 earnings. The revenue was up compared to Q1 2025. But still, the stock prices went crazy. They went up $20, $30. It was 386 the last time I saw, around 12 when the market closed. It jumped up to 406, a very small 408. But then Mr. Musk came on at 1:30 a.m. our time, and their time 5:30, and he started speaking. And I was telling Worth, the only time I heard him say the word car or any way related to something related to an automobile, because Tesla is a cars company first, and now they've converted into so many things. He just talked about robotaxis. We have so many robotaxis, and we have the Optimus robot, which we are launching the V3, and it will go out. It will help us in factories. It will help you at home. I remember the first time we saw the Optimus robot, the videos, they were being controlled by humans. So we need to buy a robot and a human to control it. Even they've shared some videos of Optimus robots working in their factories, but they're very glitchy. And we still see a wire going out in the background, and everyone is talking about maybe it's still being controlled by a
The
human.
thing is, you know what it is, honestly, Majid? Like, we've already seen WeRide and Uber collaborate and launch here.
Yeah.
Like, I saw one in the street, and I just remember my mother being like, is that a car without a driver? And back to my point that I mentioned yesterday, man, these people are so tone deaf. Like, bro, what do you mean? Some people can't even afford to get a job. Like, and you're telling us about robo taxis? Like, let some people own some. This is just exactly what I'm saying. Like, they're tone deaf. They're so tone deaf.
My problem with robotaxi, it's not a problem actually. It's a very multifaceted argument / discussion that I had with myself, that what are the pros and cons of robotaxis. The good thing is there will be less accidents. Tesla is developing FSD, which is a full something driving, which is like zero human intervention driving. So right now, when the first robotaxi was launched by Tesla, there were human drivers sitting. They weren't doing anything. They were just sitting, just in case to press the emergency button. Then they removed those riders. Then we saw V-Ride, Apollo. There's like multiple players in the world who are doing already robotaxis without any drivers. One of them is in Abu Dhabi. We have seen it in Dubai. Dubai Taxi Company has partnered with them. They're thinking of releasing more than 1,000, 2,000 taxis. One of my concerns is a human concern about the taxi drivers. We have so many taxi drivers who depend. We have, I think, more than 10,000 taxi drivers in the UAE who make a wage by driving people from point A to point B. And I remember the Dubai Taxi Company last, I think, Q4 2025 numbers. Someone asked the owner, like CEO, like, what about those drivers? And he's like, yeah, there will be job losses. Those people will lose jobs because we will eventually make our whole fleet only taxis without humans. So, but he's like, it is the demand of the time. It's not like we're saying we want to do it, we have to do it. It's like at some point people would go into the fields and plow with themselves, but then tractors came, so they didn't become obsolete. Those people were still needed to throw the seeds on the ground, and then they had more. So technology does that.
And you know what, Majid? And this is exactly why it's so eerie, because the people that you're going to see owning wealth, owning real wealth, are going to be the people who come from upper class societies who could actually afford educations to study things like AI and finance and systems and information systems. So I think, and this is why I always say it's so important to, and this is actually, no, let me be more firm about this. This is exactly why I'm so against education becoming a business. I'm so against it. Listen, I love GEMS. Great job, great money to the Indian billionaire who built this. Because in the end of the day, his parents were teachers. They came from India. They worked hard. They built a life for themselves. But it's like, for me, when I was listening to him talking with Anas Bukhash and saying that this is a business. Like they're aware. Education is a business. But then it's funny because it's like you'll have students talking to their faculty, but then when you need that extra support, when that student who's paying, like, I don't know, in this country like 60, well, going from like 20 all the way up to like 130,000 dirhams, and then faculty going like, sorry, we cannot support you. You missed this deadline, or a deadline is a deadline. Yeah. And then you have the parents coming in and yelling. It's like, I remember when I used to watch such scenes like this unfold, I used to be like, damn, like that's so rude. But now I'm like, actually, they're not paying for education, they're paying for a service. And it's like, that is why I'm so against it, because it's creating that barrier. It's creating this inequality barrier for people with less to actually also become more. And it's like, I always think of it like this, like I'm just somebody privileged to have an education, but there are so many people, geniuses out there who deserve it too. So it's just, that's why when it's like, for me, when I saw the launch of like Uber and WeRide, great, amazing, progress, but what's going to happen?
It's so interesting that you're saying that you are Gen Z and I'm a millennial, and this conversation it's come through every generation. Every generation comes to a point where they question education and its purpose. You read sociology, you read even socio-political science, you read political science, whatever in like field of study you go to where you can discuss education and its role, you always come up with arguments that you need an egalitarian society, an equal society where everyone is fed according to their needs. So if a family
Sounds like
has
communism.
yeah, exactly. But then there is a very favorable argument in terms of capitalism that if capitalism was not there, we won't see there would be no motivation for anyone to make a product which is big enough for them to make money. So Elon,
I get it, but
let's
it's like a
not take
2%,
Elon Musk.
Majid.
Yeah, I know, but see, the motivation is there's a lot of emotions, and then there's money also, which can be a motivation. Fear can be a motivation. Money can be a motivation. Emotion like happiness can be a motivation. The main idea is in an egalitarian society, education would be free, which we see in the Scandinavian countries. That's the good way because they earn money, a lot of money from other things. So they've made education free. So a student going to a university, college, school, whatever, doesn't have to think about, oh, my parents spent 100,000 on me, so I need to produce results. They go to school or educational institutions to learn.
Yeah.
And that should be the case throughout the world.
You know,
but
high schools are actually available for them until they're 20. And they're so lucky because it's like they graduate, they go to uni at a discount to international students, and then they hop on a plane and they come to the Gulf where they get paid more than a lot of the people who are actually here. So it's there's a lot going on there, but I think something so exciting right now that we're seeing is that even with the war, even with the Iran situation, brand partnerships are still continuing. And we saw this with the very iconic Brazilian football legend Ronaldo, who has been officially named the brand ambassador for Abu Dhabi-based real estate developer Aldar, marking a high-profile partnership linking global sport with one of the UAE's largest, if not largest, property groups.
And Ronaldo Nazario confirmed the move on Instagram, saying the ambition here is impossible to miss, adding that Abu Dhabi is modern, welcoming, and full of opportunity as the Emirate continues to attract global figures across sport, business, and entertainment. And then he also shared our post on his story.
Yes, he has. Founded in 2004, Aldar has grown into a cornerstone of Abu Dhabi's real estate sector, listed on the Abu Dhabi Securities Exchange in 2005 and majority owned by the government, with Mubadala as its largest shareholder.
And the company is behind major developments, including Yas Island, one of the region's most recognizable destinations, home to the Yas Marina Circuit and Formula One Etihad Airways Abu Dhabi Grand Prix.
This is so big. It's so great. And I think it's like, you know, for young people right now in the country, seeing legacy play out in such a way with Aldar. Aldar is so impressive. And I think for me, what's so iconic about them is the fact that they've managed to build like over thousands of homes near that circuit. You know, their hotels, like everything is placed so strategically so that when the Grand Prix does come, you know, they end up winning a lot of money. And we see that. But I think with this partnership, Majid, they've done one with Millie Bobby Brown before.
Yas Island, I think. As a brand
I remember
ambassador.
that. I remember that. She came with her husband and she went to all the rides in Ferrari World. We saw like an ad with Miral, who's building the next Disneyland that's going to be in the Middle East, in Abu Dhabi. But I just think for me, it's like, it's the fact that despite everything that's happening, they're staying very steadfast with their sponsors, with their brand ambassadors. Like, you'd think that at this time, Majid, like comms wouldn't be that busy, like PR, but no, I think this is an extremely busy time for them.
The most important thing is they are telling the world it's just business as usual. And that is the most important thing. Whenever there is a time of crisis, if you panic and if you don't do good
Your due
marketing and you
diligence.
don't tell people that, no, everything is fine, then you're not doing your job, at least the comms department or the PR department or the marketing department. But I think they're doing good marketing. And Abu Dhabi, to be honest, even with all of this fiasco, we didn't talk about it today. Thankfully, yesterday was a very silent day. Nothing big happened apart from Iran firing on 2 ships in the Strait of Hormuz. So we will most probably see them sitting down soon enough. The reports are that Pakistani capital Islamabad is blockaded, and it can happen at any time. Thankfully Abu Dhabi, and thanks to Aldar, Abu Dhabi government, ADX, and mainly the hero, the original Ronaldo, as I call him, because a lot of people, a lot of new generation, they know him from their clips, but I've actually seen him play live. Not live as in the ground, but I've actually seen him play in World Cups, in tournaments, in clubs,
Yeah.
Real Madrid, and all those. So I remember the feeling that you got, like the feeling that people get from Messi and Ronaldo now. We used to get that from Ronaldo at some point. Like him, and he played at a very vicious time where breaking a leg was very normal. It was a yellow card offense. Now, if you touch a player, you get a red card sometimes. So he's played in those times and he scored in those times. So it's great that one of those guys. So most probably when you're traveling around in Abu Dhabi, you may see him.
But you know what,
So
Majid?
that's a great chance.
This is actually a trend. I remember there was this time where when I first
Sorry to
joined
interrupt you.
Augustus,
Just a thought came to my mind.
Yes.
Both Ronaldos are in UAE recently.
so crazy.
right?
It's like a coincidence.
Yeah.
But no, honestly though, Majid, I remember when I first joined Augustus, I went for this Love in Dubai shoot. It was this real estate company, and imagine like I show up and I'm thinking to myself like, why do they want me to like interview these people? They were the most famous retired football players. This is like a trend in the real estate world here, and you see it take like different shapes. You know, with Benghati, we saw it was Neymar.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be fun. You know, who's going to get Messi on their ad? The Lego ad for the World Cup is crazy. That was so good. But right now, PIF is actually taking this new strategy, and it's a very exciting one. So they're basically backing a new Saudi-focused exchange-traded fund launched by State Street, marking a fresh push to expand global investor access to the kingdom's equity markets.
And the fund debuted with $100 million in assets and is listed on ETRA. It's a very nice wordplay, but very difficult to pronounce. And the London Stock Exchange under the ticker SAQL, offering a simplified route for European investors to access Saudi-listed companies.
The structure allows investors to gain exposure to a basket of Saudi equities through a single listed instrument, removing traditional barriers such as local market registration, custody requirements, and direct trading restrictions.
And State Street, the world's fourth largest asset manager with $4 trillion, BlackRock is the biggest, $14 trillion, they're fourth in assets under management, is expanding its presence in Saudi Arabia. They already have $60 billion in assets in Saudi Arabia. So that's a big number.
Now, this move reflects the growing international interest in Saudi markets as the kingdom continues efforts to attract foreign capital and integrate more closely with global financial systems under its broader economic transformation strategy. So what we're seeing here is that they're taking new strategies, they're diversifying. But I think, just like the mention of ETFs, like it just kind of brought crypto to my mind. And you know what's something I really want to see, Majid? I saw these reports that came up specifically in Al Jazeera that essentially what Iran is trying to do is that for every single ship passing through Hormuz, they pay in crypto.
Yeah.
And
Easier transaction.
That would be so good. That would be so good because easily Iran would get, it would just go way ahead of the goal of crypto that America has, and it would surpass them. And the fact that they're bringing up these terms, it lets you know that they know that they're behind, they need to catch up, and this is a great way to do it.
Crypto is the best currency for it's called illegal because the official formal banking structures are to be followed to avoid money laundering.
Yeah.
But Iran has been smart throughout this time. Crypto, yuan, Irani currency, they're literally taking anything that you have to offer apart from the dollar. So that way they are trying to make money. They have put up an unofficial toll booth there, a warrior ship, a small firing ship. It escorts you to safety. So they have put up a whole unofficial system there right now. They are firing on ships, not directly on ships. I think only one ship was directly fired upon by the IRGC. But apart from that, they're firing on the sides. They're stopping people from crossing the Strait of Hormuz. Mr. Trump eventually will find a solution to it, or he will say he found a solution, and Iran will come out and say, sorry, there was no solution. Regarding this ETF, it's a very nice move because it's very interesting how Saudi market opened to foreign ownership recently. And so foreigners can now go and directly invest in Saudi Tadawul. But this ETF now allows you to invest in Aramco without investing in Aramco, invest in all the banks that you have. So it gives you a very nice basket of shares. So when the share prices of that basket of shares goes up, your prices of share goes up. It opened at around $9.99 per share, the CTF, SAQL. Hopefully, we're seeing markets go up. Saudi Tadawul was up yesterday. So this ETF will go up. It has the potential to go up to 20 to 25 regarding, if you consider everything and the $100 million that they put in.
Yep.
So yeah,
And
good chance.
That's a wrap for today, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning into the Smashi Business Show. Make sure to follow us across all social media channels at Smashi Business and stay ahead with our daily newsletter. You'll find the subscription link in the description.
This has been a Smashi Business Show, Smashi Business production, part of the Augustus Media Podcast Network. Big shout out to our more than 2 million listeners and people who download our shows. Nearly 50,000 there, nearly there. So thank you, every one of you, and we will see you on Friday now. Have a great day. Bye. Bye.